Our main character suddenly wakes up in a classroom. He looks at the red banners on the wall and realizes there are only 25 days left until the college entrance exam. Shocked, he figures out he just traveled back in time to the days right before the big test. He lets out a loud yell, startling all the busy students in his third-year class at Anchang No. 1 High School. Grabbing his head in pure panic, he calls his situation a horror story and complains that if he really had to be reincarnated, it should have been after he already got into college, so he wouldn't have to study for the exam all over again. In this world called Blue Star, humanity has been dealing with a massive problem since ancient times, known as the Secret Realm Invasion. These secret realms connect straight to another world packed with huge, dangerous monsters. Every now and then, these giant beasts take advantage of rifts in the realm to cross over and invade the human world. These powerful monsters can destroy entire nations and threaten all of human civilization. To fight back, humanity developed a beast gene system. By injecting beast genes, people can awaken a monster template and unlock genetic talents. Since these warriors are the only ones who can save humanity, they enjoy a much higher status and better treatment than ordinary people. Because of this, the entire planet entered an era where martial strength is everything, and all other things are considered inferior. Suddenly, blue system screens appear in his vision, announcing that the world traversal introduction is complete. The system identifies his new body's host as Yi-Hei and begins implanting memories into his brain. Still holding his head, our guy processes the info and realizes his new identity is just a high school student named Yi-Hei. Seeing him struggle at his desk, a couple of classmates start mocking him. They call him trash and laugh about him having another nightmare, joking that a loser like him actually still wants to take the college entrance exam. A female classmate sitting on a desk chimes in, telling him to drop out and just become a common worker until he dies. Annoyed, Yi thinks to himself that every bullied protagonist story always has a mean girl like her. Looking through the memories, he realizes the original owner of the body had a terrible reputation in class. Because his parents had an accident during his second year, he lost focus on his training and studying. His previously decent grades tanked, making him a drag on the class average. Yi-Hei sighs, realizing the original guy didn't study properly, but now he's the one stuck suffering the consequences of this humiliating life. Just then, the teacher at the front of the class calls for their attention. He announces that they are about to begin injecting the genetic modification serum. He tells the students to have confidence, as their 3 years of hard work building their physiques and training their martial energy have all been for this very day. The teacher then glares directly at Yi-Hei, adding a sharp comment about those who never took things seriously before. Yi-Hei awkwardly smiles, trying to remind himself that he wasn't the one slacking off so he shouldn't panic, but a moment later, his expression shifts to pure determination. He decides that since he inherited this guy's life, he's going to do everything right and clean up his mess. The scene shifts to the school's gene injection hall. The students gather in front of the stage for the genetic injection conference, excitedly chatting and guessing what kind of beast templates they are going to awaken. They toss around names like Tier 3 Mountain Splitter or Tier 4 Seabridge Dragon, while some just joke about getting a useless Tier 1 beast. A high-tech container opens up, revealing several glowing vials. The teacher explains that this is the Gene Awakening Serum, which is packed with the primal genes of all recorded magical beasts. Once injected, a student will absorb one at random. Usually, the better your physical fitness, the stronger the gene you awaken. He tells them not to be nervous and to just calmly accept the power surge, then starts calling students up to get their shots. As the injections begin, the hall quickly fills with screams. Students are glowing with different auras and flailing around as they awaken their powers. Watching them act so wildly, Yi-Hei realizes this process isn't going to be easy. Still, he shrugs it off, grabs his syringe and jams it right into his neck, deciding to just go for it. His eyes flash blue for a split second, but then everything stops. He just stands there completely normal. The teacher stares at him awkwardly, pointing out that he doesn't seem to have changed much. He sweat drops and mutters that maybe he got a fake dose. Right on cue, the mean girl from his class starts laughing out loud, pointing at him and yelling for everyone to look because Yi-Hei didn't awaken anything at all. The mean girl walks up and pokes his face, laughing that he's completely doomed without an awakening. She tells him to just go home and wait to die. He gets annoyed, remembering she was the one who led the bullying against the original owner of his body. Suddenly, a strange feeling hits him. A blue system screen pops up, announcing he has acquired the Infinite Monster template. It lists his overall physique at E rank and shows a few of his basic martial skills. As the power builds up inside him, Yi-Hei hunches over. The girl tells him to stop pretending, but he warns everyone to get away from him. His eyes start glowing with intense blue energy as he tells them to leave before it's too late. Out of nowhere, a massive, Godzilla-like monster aura bursts out from him with a loud roar. The shockwave instantly blasts the mean girl off her feet. The raw power of the impact knocks the other students back across the hall. The aura is so heavy that they can barely handle it, with some students even throwing up from the intense pressure of his awakening. The massive burst of energy grabs the attention of the other top students in the hall, who wonder if someone just awakened a stronger power than theirs. Meanwhile, Yi-Hei checks his system screen. It reveals he obtained an A-rank template called Mad Flame Demola. He also gets new bloodline abilities like Scorching Breath, Molten Pulse, and Spore Absorption. The system shows an advanced form called Flame Lord Demola that will unlock when his compatibility reaches 100%, though right now he is only at 3%. Staring at his glowing hands, he realizes this is the special cheat ability the system gave him. The rest of the students are completely freaked out, realizing the guy they just called a loser blew everyone away with just his aura. They notice that the mean girl, Wang Xing, is knocked out cold on the floor. This shocks them even more because she had just awakened a solid second-tier magic beast, the Flameclaw Scorpion. They start whispering about what kind of crazy template he could have possibly awakened. Yi-Hei just awkwardly rubs the back of his head and apologizes, reminding them that he did tell everyone to step back. Right after that, an announcement plays over the loudspeakers. It orders all the awakened third-year students to head to the testing building to officially examine their magical beast genes and test their martial arts levels. The scene then shifts to the testing facility, showing the gene breakthrough detection devices, which are large glowing pods built to scan the students' new powers and physical limits. Up on the big screens, students are getting their results. A guy named Li Xinyuan gets a third-tier swift spine bug, showing how a lucky bloodline can instantly make an average student top tier. Next is Chu Zhou, the top student in the grade. He awakens a top-tier third-tier bloodline, the Ice Demon Dragon, making everyone think he'll be the city champion. Then, a girl named Miss Lu steps up and awakens a Stage 4 rare bloodline, the Nether Sparrow. The crowd is amazed because a Stage 4 beast is strong enough to destroy a city, and only Grandmasters can fight them. Watching all of this, Yi-Hei gets a bit confused. He wonders why everyone else's templates are ranked by stages or tiers, while his system graded his as A-class. Before he can think too much about it, the announcer calls his name. Yi-Hei is surprised when the massive crowd suddenly splits down the middle to let him through. Instead of calling him a loser, the students are now staring at him with sparkling eyes. They talk about how intense his presence is, hoping to get on his good side before he gets famous, and some girls even call him their dream guy. Seeing this sudden change in their attitude, Yi-Hei notes that this world really does revolve entirely around martial power. He walks up and steps into the testing pod. The students eagerly watch, guessing that his level must be high after feeling that crazy pressure earlier. Even Chu Zhou, the top student, watches him closely, noting his name and thinking that Yi-Hei is someone to look forward to. The test results finally appear on the screen, but they only show a giant question mark with most of his data listed as unknown. The machine displays his status as Class 7's Yi-Hei, a martial disciple Stage 3 with an unknown beast bloodline. Instantly, the crowd's admiration turns right back into mockery and laughter. The students start jeering, saying that even a middle schooler could beat a Stage 3, and calling his earlier aura display nothing but a loud fart. They laugh at him, calling him a hopeless loser who probably doesn't even have a bloodline. Yi-Hei walks out of the testing pod, completely unbothered by the insults. He expected this outcome since the school's machine wasn't advanced enough to detect his unique template. Right then, his personal system triggers a new prompt displaying the Infinite Monster Template Upgrade Guide. The notification explains that he can get additional monster templates and upgrades by completing quests or increasing his reputation. Yi-Hei realizes that his template system operates on a completely different level than everyone else's. A grin spreads across his face as the reality of his cheat ability sinks in. Since he can draw monster templates infinitely as long as he meets the system's conditions, he realizes he is on the path to becoming the ultimate king of monsters. Next, Yi-Hei goes straight to his teacher's office and asks for time off to train at home before the college entrance exam. The teacher sips his drink and doubts Yi-Hei will actually study. Yi-Hei explains that he is too far behind the rest of the class and needs to do his own special training to catch up. The teacher points out that Yi-Hei's foundation is just too weak, even if he awakened a bloodline. He tells Yi-Hei to just prepare to repeat the school year, since getting into a good college is the only way to become a proper warrior. Refusing to give up, Yi-Hei insists that he awakened a powerful bloodline and will definitely succeed if he trains hard on his own. He gives the teacher an intense, sparkling stare to show how sincere he is. The weird tactic actually works. The teacher agrees to let him take the break, though he still fully expects Yi-Hei to fail and come back to repeat the year anyway. With his time off approved, Yi-Hei immediately heads over to the Ancheng Warrior Center. Walking into the center, Yi-Hei goes over his finances. Between mortgaging his late parents' house and the compensation money from their accident, he's actually sitting on a pretty good amount of startup capital. He figures he has two ways to get stronger right now: grind levels like a normal warrior, or boost the compatibility of his new Demola template. Checking his system, he notices his compatibility is already at 3%, even though new templates are supposed to start at just 1%. He realizes the extra 2% came from the awakening serum he was injected with back at school. This proves that standard gene serums in this world can directly enhance his template abilities. Realizing he can basically pay to win, Yihei decides that spending cash to raise his compatibility suits him much better than training himself to death. Ready to drop some money, he heads inside to buy a gene-enhancing serum immediately. But the second he scans his student ID card at the entrance gate, he freezes, completely shocked by something in front of him. Looking around the center, Yihei realizes he can see the auras of everyone in the building. His Mad Flame Demora template gave him a new sensory ability called the Life Magnetic Field, allowing him to clearly sense the chi, blood, and beastly roars of the other warriors. Because Demora is the king of beasts, Yihei suddenly feels an intense urge to fight and conquer everyone around him. He quickly forces himself to calm down, knowing he has to suppress these instincts while he is still just a weak rookie. Just then, a woman taps him on the shoulder, teasing him for peeking at everyone's auras so casually. He apologizes. Seeing he's a student, she guesses he just awakened his gene and hasn't learned to control his senses yet. She asks why he's at the center. When Yihei admits he's lost and looking to buy genetic medicine, she is surprised. She explains that using gene medicine so early can build up a resistance, making it less effective over time. She tells him most warriors save it for when they hit a training bottleneck. Yihei doesn't care and asks how much one potion costs. The woman tells him a basic solid-type beginner potion is around 400,000. Yihei is completely shocked by the price. He realizes that even with all his savings, he couldn't even afford to buy 5 of them. Immediately shifting gears, he asks the woman if she knows anyone who could get him a discount. The woman hands Yihei her business card, revealing she's a 4th-rank martial artist named Huang Hei Li. She tells him to use her card as a veteran warrior's referral to score a solid discount. Yihei thanks her and immediately goes on an insane spending spree. He drops a staggering 1.45 million at the warrior hospital for the gene potions, and then throws down another 250,000 on a high-end weapon. Back at his apartment that night, Yihei wastes no time and starts injecting the expensive serums. The sudden surge of energy is agonizing, making him scream as raw power courses through his veins. The system immediately reacts, showing his Demola template compatibility jumping from 3% to 4% and then all the way up to 7%. His overall stats also skyrocket from 8 to 15, officially pushing him to armed rank 7. Panting on the floor, Yihei is hyped, realizing this is what real leveling up feels like. He does notice, however, that with each shot he took, the physical improvement got smaller and smaller. In just a few minutes of injecting potions, he gained the kind of power that takes normal warriors 3 years of hard work to build. And the craziest part is, these are only his base physical stats. He can't even imagine how much stronger he'll be once he actually activates Demola's true bloodline power. Feeling the massive boost in his stats, Yihei realizes he might actually have a real shot at getting the top score in the college entrance exam. He figures that if a literal cheat system can't beat regular geniuses, then it's a pretty garbage cheat. Ready to test out his new strength, he decides to head straight to a secret realm. These monster-filled rifts are ranked from S to E, with S-class realms holding beasts so dangerous they would cause an apocalypse if they ever escaped into the real world. He arrives at the Ancheng No. 3 E-level secret realm and notices the facility is basically empty. He guesses it's an older, fully explored realm where all the valuable loot has already been taken, leaving only low-level monsters behind for rookies to practice on. He walks up to the front desk where the receptionist casually tells him to sign a death waiver, which also serves as his entry ticket. Standing in front of the massive, glowing blue rift, Yi gets hyped, declaring this is the start of his rise to become the king of beasts. Without hesitating, he takes a running start and leaps right through the portal, touching down inside the realm. Inside, Yihei is amazed by the alien landscape, taking in the sight of giant planets hanging in the starry sky. While he's distracted by the view, a first-rank monster called a Blade Fang Rabbit suddenly lunges at him from the bushes. Thanks to his life magnetic field ability, Yihei senses the ambush perfectly. Without even looking back, he casually reaches behind his head and catches the monster mid-air, effortlessly crushing it. He extracts its magic core, a basic white gem worth about 1,000 yuan. He notes that making this much cash in just a few minutes is incredibly efficient compared to a normal job, but farming low-level first-rank beasts is a waste of time. He decides he needs to find at least a second-rank beast to really make the trip worth it. Right on cue, a giant worm-like monster rears up directly behind him. The system identifies it as a second-ranked demon corpse bug. Completely unfazed by the huge bug, Yi just smirks and draws his new sword, ready to test his skills. As the giant demon corpse bug lunges at him, Yihei steps right into the attack and swings his sword in a massive arc. Instead of aiming for its head, he slices directly into the monster's abdomen, splashing green blood everywhere. He remembers from reading the monster encyclopedia that while the bug's back shell is as hard as steel, its stomach armor is soft and much easier to break through. Enraged by the hit, the massive bug retaliates by whipping its body around and spinning at insane speeds, turning itself into a giant, destructive purple tornado that barrels right toward him. Seeing the incoming attack, Yihei decides to switch tactics. He gathers his chi, his hands glowing with intense blue energy. Tapping into his martial arts, he thrusts his hands forward and fires off a massive energy blast called Hyper Beam, blasting the blinding light straight into the center of the spinning monster. The bug shrugs off the attack and suddenly fires sharp, spinning purple projectiles right out of its mandibles. He leans back just in time to dodge, but the energy discs slice right through his expensive new jacket. Annoyed about his clothes, he quickly realizes a much bigger problem. With his current martial arts level, he can't actually do any real damage to the bug, because the original owner of his body was such a slacker. He doesn't know any powerful martial techniques to back up his raw stats. Even with his deep energy, he can barely exert 50% of his true strength. Realizing he has no other option, Yihei decides to just use his cheat. He fully activates the Mad Demola Emperor Demon Bloodline. Instantly, a massive surge of blue energy erupts around him. The system shows his empowerment level spiking from 15 straight to 21 as his right arm physically mutates into a terrifying, glowing monster claw. The demon corpse bug screeches and lunges at him again, but this time, Yihei is ready. Armed with his new monstrous power, he charges straight at the giant bug to end the fight. Yihei swings his mutated monster claw and completely rips through the giant demon corpse bug. With his overall stats temporarily boosted to 21 points, he easily crushes the Tier 2 monster, spraying green blood everywhere. Deactivating his transformation, he stands over the carcass and vents out the excess heat from his body like an engine. He picks up his expensive new sword only to find the blade completely melted and corroded by the bug's venom. Annoyed, he complains that a 250,000 yuan weapon is a total scam if it can't even handle one Tier 2 monster. Suddenly, his stomach starts growling loudly. The energy consumption from his first real monster hunt left him starving, and he didn't pack any food. Right then, he catches a really fragrant smell and realizes it's coming from the bug's green-grade magic core. Driven by intense hunger, he doesn't even care that it came out of a giant bug. He just tosses the glowing core right into his mouth and swallows it. Immediately, a system window pops up showing his Mad Demola template compatibility just increased from 7% to 7.3%. A fresh wave of blue energy surges around him as he realizes he can raise his compatibility just by eating monster cores. Realizing how this works, Yihei does the math. He spent hundreds of thousands of yuan on those genetic potions, and they only boosted his compatibility by a measly 1%. But this single green magic core he just ate increased it by 0.3%. That means eating just 3 or 4 of these free cores gives him the exact same boost as one of those incredibly expensive potions. He actually starts crying tears of frustration, realizing he completely wasted all his money trying to pay to win. Annoyed, he decides to turn his frustration into motivation. He activates his life field ability, expanding his senses across the entire area, and declares he's going to spend the whole night hunting to his heart's content. By the next afternoon, Yihei walks out of the secret realm. His compatibility is now up to 9%, and his overall physique has slightly improved to 15.8. He figured out that once he hit 9%, his body stopped absorbing the low-level white magic cores, so he decided to just gather them up to sell. Back at the front desk, he dumps a massive pile of 20 white magic cores and 1 green core onto the counter. The receptionist is completely stunned that a high schooler managed to collect so much loot. After paying the required government tax, Yihei walks away with a solid 200,000 credits in cash. Fast forward, and it's now just 9 days until the college entrance exam. At the Oncheng No. 4 D-Class Secret Realm, a squad of veteran hunters is getting ready for a bounty mission to find a rare blood jade flower. The team captain, a Tier 2 martial artist named Lin Hei, explains they found its general location during their last run. However, because one of their guys got injured, they're down to a 5-person team. Since government rules strictly require at least 6 people to enter a dangerous D-Class realm, Lin Hei tells the squad not to worry, because he already contacted an agency to send them a new martial artist to fill the spot. Yihei shows up in a gray hoodie, introducing himself as a level 9 martial disciple under the codename Dadzla. Because high school students aren't legally allowed inside D-Class secret realms, Yihei had to pay an illegal agency 100,000 credits for a fake identity just to join the team. The captain finds the codename a bit weird, but Yihei secretly notes he had to tweak the name to avoid copyright issues. The captain tells him that as a level 9 disciple, he doesn't actually qualify for a D-class realm, so he is only there to observe and learn. He warns Yihei not to hold the team back. Yihei agrees, glad the captain is setting clear boundaries now, rather than screwing him over mid-mission. The squad drives their armored jeep straight through the portal, emerging on the other side in a vast desert under a giant glowing planet. A teammate checks their tracker and says the Bloodjade flower is located in an oasis up ahead, but warns that it's guarded by a Tier 2 monster with a general class bloodline. Looking at the landscape, Yihei notes that his last secret realm was a rainforest, while this one is a desert, meaning these rifts connect to entirely different worlds. Suddenly, a pack of earth demon rats locks onto the jeep and charges. The captain orders a teammate named Hood to take care of them. Hood draws his dual blades, leaping off the back of the speeding vehicle to intercept the monsters. Hood launches his curved blades, impaling the earth demon rats instantly. He infuses his martial energy directly into the weapons, causing them to explode like bombs on impact and completely wiping out the monsters. Watching the quick fight, Yihei notes that Hood is highly efficient, ruthless, and doesn't talk much. With the rats cleared, the squad eventually parks the jeep and continues the rest of the way on foot. Yihei asks why they are walking when the oasis is still pretty far away. The captain explains that the monsters in the oasis have highly sensitive hearing, so the sound of an engine would instantly give away their position. As they walk, the captain hands out assignments. Xiao Xia will throw a specialized grenade to lure the beast out. Xiao Wu and Hood will set up traps. Old Lu will provide suppressive gunfire, and the captain himself will handle the front line. Pointing at Yihei, the captain tells Dadzla to just stand back and watch, which Yihei is perfectly fine with. Once they reach the edge of the oasis, Xiao Xia launches the stun grenade. It explodes high in the air, releasing high-level monster pheromones designed to trick the local wildlife into thinking their territory is being invaded. The lure works perfectly as a massive Tier 2 earth dragon bursts out of the ground, roaring loudly. A teammate warns Yihei to be careful as the beast heads their way. But before the squad can even engage the dragon, another figure suddenly appears standing on a nearby ridge. It is a creepy bald man wearing sunglasses and a fur collar, standing right next to two giant blades planted in the ground. Grabbing one of his weapons, the strange man just lets out a creepy laugh.